My name is H.A. Goodman, and I'm an author, columnist, and journalist. Hit subscribe right now. I'm going to start this opening every segment. Just let me know if you like it or if you think it's too annoying. For example, 7 email chains concern matters that were classified at the top secret special access program level when they were sent and received. These chains involved Secretary Clinton both sending emails about those matters and receiving emails from others about the same matters. There is evidence to support a conclusion that any reasonable person in Secretary Clinton's position or in the position of those government employees with whom she was corresponding about these matters should have known that an unclassified system was no place for that conversation. Although there is evidence of potential violations of the statutes regarding the handling of classified information, our judgment is that no reasonable prosecutor would bring such a case. That is James Comey, acknowledging Clinton broke the law. Anyway, I want to find a way to start every single segment that way. Hit subscribe right now. The Mueller probe is over. Everything I've been saying is happening. I've been telling you that it's a bunch of nonsense forever. It is a bunch of nonsense. William Barr is going to become Attorney General. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a new Attorney General. We have the end of the Mueller probe. They're really nothing, because if let's say Adam Schiff in the House and Nancy Pelosi and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, they go after Trump's finances, like, nobody cares. I don't care. It's like the whole allure was like, oh, you worked with a foreign power, and we found out that was Clinton. So, hey, you want a hostile foreign power? You sold them uranium. So we didn't sell anything. Well, it was approved. Okay, it was approved. The uranium sale was approved. Could have been vetoed by President. Could have been vetoed actually by President Obama. He decided not to. Why is that? Why did he decide not to veto the deal? That's the question. Why did President Obama decide not to veto the deal? Okay. Now, if I was the Washington Post and this was Mueller, it would be, what would happen if they actually have articles like that? What if this could have taken place? This one scenario. Well, here's a scenario. Cash flow to the Clinton Foundation amid the Russian uranium deal. New York Times segment. New York Times article. Bill Clinton met with Vladimir Putin. President Obama was influenced by Hillary Clinton. We know that he was so influenced, or he catered to Clinton so much, he didn't even know she had a private server. Of course, he knew he was lying about that. But cash flow to the Clinton Foundation, not just the $2+ million, you had well over $100 million years before from a former owner of Uranium One. But Bill Clinton met with Vladimir Putin. Look, we can go on forever. If you want to talk about connecting the dots, there are more dots to connect. William Barr is going to connect those dots. The Mueller probe is done. There are no dots to connect. The only dots were, how many lives can we ruin? How many lives? How many lives could be ruined? That's the only thing that Mueller did. By the way, my Second Amendment channel, it's moving, and I am putting in the work and giving some pretty amazing content. Check out the M60. It's awesome. And my M249 segment. They're both awesome. M60. So that would be the heavy machine gun in Fortnite. So if you're a gamer, I have a series, and I'm going to make an absolutely fantastic playlist. It'll be Fortnite guns in real life playlist. And I pretty much today shot almost all the guns in Fortnite and a whole bunch of other rifles and firearms in Fortnite and a bunch of other games. But it's real. Like, I'm with instructors, experts there around me, and it was completely safe, law-abiding. It was amazing. I'm obviously at a location that allows this, a state that allows this. But anyway. Graham in no rush to protect Mueller. The Trump ally is showing less urgency. Yes, Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham's interesting. He's kind of like a better Trey Gowdy. Trey Gowdy is like, you thought that he was on your side, and then suddenly it's like, what? You're not on our side at all. Lindsey Graham in no rush to protect Mueller. The Trump ally is showing less urgency to act now that he's assumed the chairmanship of the Senate Judiciary Committee. Mazel tov. This is fantastic. Speaking of Mazel tov, check out my Jerusalem Post article. The op-ed is below. Why Democrats embrace anti-Semitism and anti-Israel bias. I explain in that article, so if you're that's another prescient, not to pat myself on the back, but I've have the pulse of what's going on. Not right about everything, but I have the pulse of what's going on. I explain exactly why Democrats do this, or why they engage in such irrational behavior. But anyway, the much heralded end of the Mueller investigation, The Atlantic. Can you believe it? When The Atlantic reports that the Mueller investigation has ended, when no one knows, when no one knows when it'll actually wrap up, or what it will mean when it does. The headline is the much heralded end of the Mueller investigation. It's wrapping up, and we know what it'll mean. It'll mean nothing. President Trump didn't work with Russia to hack the DNC to inform the country that Bernie Sanders was cheated. That's a ridiculous, absurd narrative. People in America, the general public, used to be just the general public. We used to be as a country less naive. We used to have a greater understanding of politics. And I'm talking about, that was because there was a nonpartisan, even though, journalists tended to lean liberal, but not like this. I mean, I'm in my early 40s, and I remember growing up, 8, 9, 10 years old, 11, 12. You can remember, I remember when Reagan was in office. Bush Sr. Okay, Clinton. Even, everything against Clinton, it was more like hands off. It wasn't, it was just a different ballgame. Sure, there were partisans in media, but that didn't start until much later, and now it's like all over the place. It's overt, I should say. I'm sorry. It's just overt. The Washington Post and the New York Times and MSNBC and CNN are overt. CNN never used to be this way. The New York Times and the Washington Post never used to be this way. They might have had a liberal leaning. I remember the days when people would debate whether journalism had a liberal leaning. Like, people actually debated that because the news was generally nonpartisan. Generally nonpartisan. Now it's like you have activists. You don't have news. You have activists. These are people, you might as well just have Debbie Wasserman Schultz reading the news. They should just hire, instead of Don Lemon, they should just hire Debbie Wasserman Schultz. I mean, it's like, or Clinton. It should be like, those fireside chats from FDR. Just have a Clinton Clinton at 6. Just give us your thoughts, Hillary, about life and politics and Trump and Russia. That's what you're getting. Or more accurately, John Brennan, or James Clapper, or Comey. Everyone is saying it. The Mueller investigation is winding down. The acting attorney general declared the investigation close to completion during a press conference. His wife, Marcy Whittaker, also insisted that the special counsel investigation is wrapping up. There you go. President Donald Trump's nominee for Attorney General William Barr testified before the Senate Judiciary that, given his public actions, Mueller is well along in his investigation. It's done. So, it's done. That's it. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry. Would have been nice to actually, find any evidence of the nonsense that you were spouting all this time. But you didn't. You didn't find any evidence, did you? You just took the country for a ride. That's all you did, Democrats. You took the country for a really terrible ride for 2 years. Trump doesn't foment division. Democrats fomented division. They needed to foment this hatred, this dislike of Trump, this focus, this singular focus only on his personality. Only on his personality. It's like, get over his personality. You don't like his personality. We get it. You don't like his personality. Fine. If you care so much about Medicare for all, if you care so much about a Green New Deal, why don't you focus on that? Well, for 2 years, not just a resolution, non-binding, whatever. They don't care. Look, the Democratic Party is the most corrupt organization in the United States of America. Most corrupt. They say Trump is like, oh my God, this mobster. No, he's not. He's not. He was in business. The guy is a billionaire. And if you're not a billionaire, whatever, 300-400 million, that's still a lot of money. But his family gave him money. Fine. That okay. He still was he's been in the spotlight in New York for decades. If he was this overt criminal, believe me, they would have. He was never in politics. He would have been caught. There are very powerful people who've been caught. Okay, Bernie Madoff, very powerful, crooked. So my point is, he's nothing, absolutely nothing compared to Clinton. Clinton actually did commit crimes. Clinton actually, and I started that with before on this channel. Clinton did commit crimes. She did commit felonies, not just, not like, well, you lied to Peter Strzok. It's like, yeah, okay. You lied to Peter Strzok. You lied to Peter Strzok. Peter Strzok did everything possible. What did Trump? Thank you to MSNBC. Senate Intel uncovers no direct. Thank you to MSNBC. That's so great. 2 years, 200 witnesses interviewed over. It's like Trump clowns them in the most hilarious ways. And nobody gets it too. Like, nobody gets Trump. Nobody understands. It's not that difficult to get. It's not like this. He's this, oh my God, he speaks in riddles. Like, no, it's just his personality. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. If you find his personality offensive and you're okay listening to Hillary Clinton, I would say you have problems. Clinton is overt in her quest for power and influence and prestige. And, well, mainly political power. Trump doesn't need he never needed political power. So that's why he's bringing home Americans. That's why the intel people and all the journalists and all the thinkers at the think tank and all the wonderful, wonderful people like Max Boot, who never saw a counterinsurgency war he didn't like. Of course, he didn't have to risk anything the way when we send Americans off to fight these horrendous battles. Their families, their loved ones, their children, their sons, their daughters miss them. You think a guy like Max Boot cares? No. You think Clinton? No. You think the average, MSNBC person, CNN? You think the average person on Twitter who's like, yeah, we're anti this and anti-Trump, and he's a green or he's an orange monster, a demigod. Oh, you think they care about what Trump is doing to bring home Americans? That's what drove me. People are like, how can you go from Bernie to Trump? Because that's what drove me. In addition to, I was on the left, and there's a certain level of brainwashing, just, you gotta fit, and whereas, for example, if single payer was feasible, great. It's wonderful. I have family in Europe. They tell me, or they told me, this was 10, 15 years ago. My uncle a distant uncle had open heart surgery. It was great. Paid, I think, $150, something like that. Great. We don't have 50, 60 million people like France does. France, 66 million, something like that. We have 320 million people, and France doesn't have 450,000 soldiers throughout the globe. They don't have 800 military bases. So, it's not just cutting the military budget. People, they bring up, we'll just cut the budget. The military budget, one person in this Congress, they didn't even ask for it. It's not the issue. The issue is bringing home Americans, which is what Trump is doing. But I digress. The Mueller probe is done. That's it. Done. If the only critique is, well, it's not officially done, it's been done for a while. When you're going after Roger Stone, when you're going after Roger Stone, you're pretty much done. You're pretty much done. in terms of your investigation. You're pretty much done in terms of your investigation. You don't really have any leads. There's no predicate crime. You have completely fabricated. Meanwhile, what I read to begin this segment remains true. Clinton committed crimes, legal statutes, everything. Everything. It's right there. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for tuning in. Hit subscribe right now. You definitely want to get the take of somebody the Washington Post called the biggest Bernie Sanders, the unofficial scribe of Bernie's most hardcore voters. Why? Because I'm now a Trump supporter who understands that, just look at the record. The Mueller probe was a special counsel into nothing. William Barr needs to implement a special counsel. And don't ask anyone. Did Rod Rosenstein ask anyone? And I don't care. Oh, Comey was fired. You know what? Uranium could have been vetoed by the president. This was a national security risk. And you already had the predicate for this. You have FBI agents under criminal investigation. This is a huge deal. How did Clinton transfer the top secret intelligence? Does anyone know? Does anyone know? Nobody knows. And William Barr Lindsey Graham needs to get to the bottom of it. The Mueller probe is officially done. Mueller probe is officially done. There's really not anything else you can do if you're Mueller or the Democratic Party. Now the House, like in the House we learned from the Republicans, has zero teeth. And at least Jim Jordan and Matt Gaetz and Louis Gohmert and DeSantis, they all tried. And they actually got evidence of corruption, FISA corruption and Clinton email corruption, all that stuff. They got evidence. Nothing was done with it. The House is going to try to get evidence on Trump. They can't. There is no criminal behavior. They're just trying to hurt Trump. Oh, look at his finances. Why? What are you accusing him of? Transferring top secret intelligence? A bribery and money laundering scheme in the Clinton Foundation? What are you accusing him of? Money laundering. You mean like money flowing into the Clinton Foundation and then favors being given to people? You can't prove that. Oh, but you couldn't prove Trump Russia, but you spent 2 years. You bought a fake dossier. Should we just buy a dossier? Is that how it works? Hit subscribe right now. You want to see my M60 segment. You want to see that segment. Hit subscribe. That's the HA Second Amendment and also the M249. If you play video games, you will love it because it's actually, the firearms you use on video games, but in real life. Also, if you're a gamer, you're watching this, share this share my Second Amendment channel, my latest uploads everywhere. Thank you so very much.